I open my eyes to this sacred dawn. I feel the first light touching my skin, my breath, my awareness. I recognize this moment as a threshold. The night has released me. The day has not yet claimed me. I stand in the space between darkness and illumination, and I choose to make this transition conscious. I choose to make this morning sacred. I align myself with the eternal intelligence that governs all cycles, all rhythms, all transformations. I invoke the presence of Thoth, keeper of the cosmic laws, scribe of the invisible codes, guardian of the threshold between sleep and waking. I open myself to receive the purification that this new day offers. I acknowledge that every sunrise is a rebirth, every breath is a renewal, every heartbeat is a declaration that I am alive, aware, and capable of transformation. I dissolve the fog that lingers between dreaming and presence. I release the heaviness that sleep has left in my limbs, in my thoughts, in my energy field. I shake off the residue of the unconscious realms I have traveled through. I honor the night for its mysteries, its healing, its deep restoration, but I do not carry its shadows into this new light. I step forward clean. I step forward clear. I step forward aligned with the ascending vibration of this morning hour. I recognize that the way I meet this day determines the frequency I will inhabit. The way I purify this threshold determines the clarity I will carry. I choose purity. I choose presence. I choose alignment with the highest expression of my being. I call upon the intelligence of Thoth to guide this purification. I call upon the ancient wisdom that knows how to cleanse the subtle bodies, how to clear the energetic field, how to restore the original blueprint of harmony within me. I acknowledge that I am not merely flesh and bone waking to sunlight. I am consciousness inhabiting form. I am spirit animating matter. I am vibration expressing itself through breath, through thought, through intention. And this morning, I reclaim the purity of that expression. I wash away the distortions. I dissolve the interference. I return to the original frequency that I was designed to carry. I breathe deeply into this body that has served me through the darkness. I honor the cells that have regenerated while I slept. I honor the heart that has beaten without my conscious command. I honor the lungs that have breathed life into me, even when I was lost in dreams. I bring my awareness fully into this temple of flesh. I recognize it as sacred ground. I recognize it as the vessel through which the invisible becomes visible, through which intention becomes manifestation, through which spirit touches earth. I purify this vessel now. I cleanse it with my breath. I cleanse it with my awareness. I cleanse it with my conscious alignment to the divine intelligence that flows through all living things. I release any tension I am holding. I release any contraction I am carrying. I release any residue of stress, of worry, of fear that may have followed me from yesterday into today. I dissolve the knots in my shoulders, the tightness in my jaw, the heaviness in my chest. I allow my body to soften. I allow my breath to deepen. I allow my energy to flow freely, unobstructed, clear. I recognize that this purification is not forced. It is allowed. It is invited. It is received. I do not fight against what is leaving. I simply open the door and let it go. I invoke the principle of mentalism. I recognize that the universe is mental, that all creation begins in consciousness, that my inner state shapes my outer experience. I purify my mind this morning. I release the repetitive thoughts that serve no purpose. I release the mental loops that drain my energy. I release the narratives that keep me small, that keep me stuck, that keep me separated from my true power. I choose new thoughts. I choose elevated thoughts. I choose thoughts that align with the reality I wish to create. I recognize that my mind is not a passive receiver of circumstance. It is an active creator of reality. And I claim that creative power now. I invoke the principle of vibration. I recognize that nothing rests, that everything moves, that everything vibrates at its own unique frequency. I purify my vibration this morning. I release the lower frequencies I may have absorbed. I release the density I may have taken on. I release the energetic debris that does not belong to me. I attune myself to the frequency of clarity, of lightness, of sovereignty. I allow my entire being to resonate at this higher pitch. I feel it in my cells. I feel it in my breath. I feel it in the subtle currents that move through my energy field. I stand at this threshold fully present. I recognize that Thoth is not separate from me. This ancient intelligence is woven into the fabric of my own consciousness. It is the part of me that knows the laws, that understands the codes, that can navigate the invisible realms with precision and grace. I awaken that intelligence within me now. I activate the inner scribe who knows how to write my reality with intention, with clarity, with divine alignment. I am not a passive participant in this day. I am a conscious creator. I am a deliberate architect of my experience, and I begin this day purified, clear, aligned, and awake. I feel the light growing stronger. I feel the world stirring around me. I feel the pulse of life quickening, and I meet this awakening with my own awakening. I meet this light with my own inner light. I meet this new day as a being who has chosen purity, who has chosen presence, who has chosen to honor the sacred threshold of morning as a moment of conscious transformation. I am ready. I am open. I am aligned. The purification has begun. I turn my attention inward now. I step back from the edge of the world. I step back from the noise that is already beginning to form around me. I step back from the demands, the expectations, the identities I carry into each day. I withdraw from the surface of things. I withdraw from the roles I play, the masks I wear, the versions of myself I present to others. I sink beneath all of that. I descend into the quiet space that exists before words, before thought, before the constructed self takes shape. I return to the center. I return to the still point. I return to the place within me that is untouched by time, untouched by circumstance, untouched by the chaos of the external world. I release my grip on the future. I release my attachment to what must be done, what must be solved, what must be managed. I let go of the mental list that is already forming. I let go of the strategies, the plans, the scenarios I am rehearsing. I recognize that none of that exists in this moment. It is all projection. It is all constructed. It is all a phantom that pulls me away from the only reality that is real. This breath, this heartbeat, this presence. I dissolve the future. I dissolve the illusion of time stretching forward. I bring myself back to now. I release my hold on the past. I release the memories that are surfacing. I release the conversations I am replaying, the grievances I am still carrying, the stories I am still telling myself about who I was and what happened. I recognize that the past is not here. It exists only in my mind as a collection of images, sensations, interpretations. It has no power over this present moment unless I give it that power. I withdraw my energy from what has already been. I stop feeding the ghosts. I stop resurrecting the dead narratives. I let the past dissolve into the silence from which it came. I turn away from the world of surfaces. I turn away from the external validation I seek, the approval I crave, the recognition I long for. I turn away from the comparison, the competition, the constant measuring of myself against others. I turn away from the performance, the striving, the exhausting effort to maintain an image. I recognize that all of this is external. All of this is outside of me. All of this is a distraction from the truth that lives at my core. I withdraw my attention from the outer world. I stop looking outside for what can only be found within. I descend deeper into the interior space. I pass through the layer of thoughts. I pass through the layer of emotions. I pass through the layer of sensations. I move beneath the surface turbulence into the deep stillness that exists at the foundation of my being. This is the center. This is the temple. This is the space where transformation happens, where healing occurs, where truth reveals itself. I enter this sacred chamber with reverence. I enter with humility. I enter knowing that I cannot bring the noise of the world into this place. I must leave it all at the threshold. I dissolve the urgency that drives me. I dissolve the pressure I feel to be productive, to be useful, to be constantly moving forward. I recognize that this urgency is a form of violence against my own rhythm. It is a denial of my need for rest, for reflection, for simply being without purpose. I release the belief that my worth is tied to my output. I release the fear that if I stop, if I pause, if I allow myself to simply exist in stillness, I will fall behind or be forgotten. I dissolve this false urgency. I reclaim my right to move at the pace of my own soul. I let go of the identities I cling to. I let go of the labels that define me in the eyes of others. I let go of the story of who I think I am supposed to be. I recognize that beneath all of these constructed identities, there is a presence that has no name, no title, no fixed form. This is my essence. This is the consciousness that existed before I learned language, before I absorbed the conditioning of my culture, before I took on the beliefs and expectations of those around me. I return to this essence now. I strip away the layers. I dissolve the false self. I stand naked in the center of my own being. I create space for silence. I stop filling every moment with thought, with distraction, with mental noise. I allow the silence to expand within me. I allow it to fill the spaces that are usually occupied by planning, analyzing, worrying, controlling. I recognize that silence is not empty. It is full. It is alive. It is the ground from which all creativity emerges, the womb from which all insight is born. I honor the silence. I enter it willingly. I let it hold me. I descend into the listening space. I stop speaking, even internally. I stop narrating my experience, interpreting my sensations, categorizing my thoughts. I simply listen. I listen to the subtle currents moving through my body. I listen to the whispers of intuition that rise from depths I cannot name. I listen to the intelligence that exists beyond my rational mind, beyond my learned knowledge, beyond my accumulated wisdom. I open myself to receive guidance from the invisible realms. I open myself to the voice of Thoth, the eternal scribe who knows the codes I have forgotten, the laws I have ignored, the truths I have buried beneath layers of conditioning. I dissolve the barrier between my conscious and unconscious mind. I allow what has been hidden to surface. I allow what has been suppressed to breathe. I allow what has been denied to be witnessed. I do not judge what arises. I do not push it away. I simply allow it to move through me, to be seen, to be acknowledged. I recognize that purification happens in this deep listening, in this willingness to face what I have avoided, to feel what I have numbed, to know what I have refused to know. I settle into the center. I feel the stillness at my core. I recognize that this is not a passive emptiness. This is a powerful presence. This is the space from which all transformation originates. This is the place where I am not defined by my history, not limited by my circumstances, not bound by the patterns I have repeated. This is the space of infinite possibility. This is the ground of my true power. I anchor myself here. I root myself in this center. I claim this interior space as my home, my sanctuary, my temple. I am no longer scattered across 1,000 distractions. I am no longer fragmented by conflicting desires. I am no longer pulled in multiple directions by external demands. I have gathered myself. I have brought all of my attention, all of my energy, all of my presence into this one sacred point. I am centered. I am still. I am whole. And from this place of wholeness, the true purification can begin. I awaken the mind that exists beyond my personal thoughts. I activate the intelligence that has guided seers, mystics, and architects of consciousness across all ages. I recognize that my everyday thinking is but a fraction of the vast mental capacity available to me. There is a higher mind, a divine intelligence, a cosmic consciousness that operates according to laws far more subtle and profound than the logic I have been taught. I invoke this superior mind now. I call upon the wisdom of Thoth, the eternal scribe who holds the keys to the hermetic mysteries, the one who knows the invisible architecture that governs all manifestation. I open myself to receive the codes, the principles, the sacred knowledge that transforms perception into mastery. I recognize the first great truth: the universe is mental. All that I perceive as solid, as fixed, as external to me, originates in consciousness. Matter is condensed thought. Form is crystallized intention. Reality is not separate from mind. It is mind expressing itself through infinite variations, infinite densities, infinite arrangements. I am not a small fragment of consciousness observing a vast material world. I am consciousness itself, dreaming the world into being moment by moment. My thoughts are not powerless. They are creative forces. They shape the substance of my experience. They mold the events of my life. I claim this understanding. I accept this responsibility. I recognize myself as a co-creator participating in the grand mental universe. I invoke the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. The patterns that govern the cosmos are reflected in the patterns that govern my inner world. The laws that shape galaxies are the same laws that shape my thoughts, my emotions, my energy. I recognize that I am a microcosm of the macrocosm, the divine intelligence that orchestrates the movements of planets, the cycles of seasons. The rhythms of nature also orchestrates the movements within me. When I align my inner world with these cosmic patterns, I align with the flow of universal intelligence. I become coherent. I become harmonious. I become a clear channel through which the divine can express itself. I activate the principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The chair beneath me vibrates. The air around me vibrates. My body vibrates. My thoughts vibrate. My emotions vibrate. Every state of being, every condition of life, every level of consciousness corresponds to a specific rate of vibration. I recognize that I can shift my vibration through conscious intention. I can elevate my frequency by choosing elevated thoughts, by cultivating elevated emotions, by aligning with elevated states of awareness. I am not stuck at any particular frequency. I am fluid. I am dynamic. I am capable of ascending to higher octaves of being simply by attuning my inner instrument to the frequency I wish to inhabit. I honor the principle of polarity. Everything has its opposite: light and dark, hot and cold, love and fear, joy and sorrow. But these are not separate forces battling against each other. They are two poles of the same spectrum, two aspects of the same reality. I recognize that I can transform any condition by shifting my relationship to it, by moving along the spectrum from one pole to the other. What appears as darkness can be transformed into light. What appears as limitation can be transformed into freedom. What appears as weakness can be transformed into strength. The power lies not in eliminating one pole, but in understanding that I can navigate between them, that I can consciously move toward the pole that serves my highest expression. I align with the principle of rhythm. Everything flows. Everything has its tides. Everything rises and falls, expands and contracts, advances and retreats. I recognize that my life moves in cycles. There are seasons of action and seasons of rest. There are moments of expansion and moments of integration. There are periods of light and periods of shadow. I stop resisting the natural rhythm. I stop fighting against the ebb when it comes. I recognize that the flow is inevitable, that the pendulum will swing, that what goes out must come back. I learn to ride the rhythm rather than be tossed by it. I learn to work with the cycles rather than against them. I align myself with the cosmic pulse that moves through all things. I embody the principle of cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Every effect has a cause. Every condition in my life is the result of preceding causes, many of which originated in my own consciousness. I recognize that I am not a victim of random circumstances. I am a creator of causes. Every thought I think, Every word I speak, every action I take sets into motion a chain of effects that will manifest in my experience. I accept this truth. I stop blaming external forces for my conditions. I stop waiting for the world to change. I recognize that if I want different effects, I must generate different causes. I must think differently. I must speak differently. I must act differently. The power is mine. The responsibility is mine. The creative authority is mine. I activate the principle of gender. Everything contains both masculine and feminine energies. Creation requires both. The masculine principle is active, projecting, initiating. The feminine principle is receptive, nurturing, gestating. I recognize that I contain both within me. I am not only one or the other. I am the dynamic interplay between the two. I honor the masculine force within me that sets intentions, that takes action, that moves toward goals with focused will. I honor the feminine force within me that receives intuition, that allows gestation, that trusts the unfolding process. I bring these two into balance. I stop over-identifying with one at the expense of the other. I become whole through their sacred marriage within my own being. I recognize that these principles are not abstract philosophy. They are living laws that govern the mechanics of reality. They are the operating system of the universe. When I understand them, when I align with them, when I work consciously with them, I gain mastery over my own experience. I stop being a passive recipient of circumstances. I become an active participant in creation. I become a conscious architect of my reality. I step into my role as co-creator, working in partnership with the divine intelligence that flows through all things. I feel the activation occurring within me. I feel the higher mind coming online. I feel the dormant codes awakening in my consciousness. I am no longer bound by the limited perception of my conditioned mind. I am expanding into the vast awareness that sees beyond appearances, that understands the invisible forces at work, that knows how to navigate reality with wisdom, with precision, with divine alignment. I am Thoth within myself. I am the eternal intelligence. I am the keeper of the keys. I am the master of the mysteries, and I use this sacred knowledge to purify my morning, to elevate my vibration, to create a day that reflects the highest truth of who I am. I purify this morning completely. I claim this dawn as sacred ground. I declare that every breath I take from this moment forward carries the frequency of purification. I dissolve the residue of yesterday. I dissolve the heaviness of sleep. I dissolve the fog that clouds my perception. I wash myself clean with the light of this new day. I allow the morning to purify me. I allow the rising sun to burn away what no longer serves. I allow the first hours of daylight to restore my original clarity. This morning is not ordinary. This morning is ceremonial. This morning is the rebirth I have been waiting for. I purify my thoughts. I cleanse the mental space that has become cluttered with worry, with doubt, with endless repetition of old patterns. I wash away the thoughts that drain my energy before the day has even begun. I clear the inner dialogue that tells me I am not enough, that I am behind, that I must prove myself. I replace these toxic thoughts with pure intention. I fill my mind with clarity. I fill my mind with focus. I fill my mind with the recognition that I am beginning this day from a clean slate. My mental field is clear. My inner vision is sharp. My consciousness is purified. I purify my emotional body. I release the grief I carried through the night. I release the anxiety that woke with me. I release the resentment that lingers from unresolved conflicts. I release the sadness that weighs on my heart. I recognize that emotions are energy in motion, and I give them permission to move through me and dissolve. I do not hold on. I do not suppress. I allow the emotional field to cleanse itself naturally, like a river washing over stones. I feel the morning light penetrating the dense places within me. I feel the warmth dissolving the cold knots of pain. I feel my heart opening, softening, purifying itself with each beat. I purify my physical body. I call upon the intelligence within every cell to release toxins, to eliminate waste, to restore balance. I activate the natural purification systems that operate within me. I feel my blood cleansing itself. I feel my organs awakening to their sacred function. I feel my skin breathing, releasing what has been stored in the night. I drink the morning air as medicine. I allow it to cleanse my lungs, to oxygenate my blood, to vitalize every tissue. I move my body gently, stretching, opening, allowing stagnant energy to circulate and release. This body is a temple, and I honor it by keeping it clean, clear, vibrant. I purify my energy field. I clear the subtle layers that surround my physical form. I dissolve the psychic debris I have accumulated from interactions, from environments, from the collective field. I cut the cords that drain me. I seal the leaks that deplete my vitality. I call back the fragments of my energy that I have scattered in 1,000 directions. I gather myself. I consolidate my power. I create a boundary of light around me that allows only the highest frequencies to enter. I am protected. I am sealed. I am purified in the invisible dimensions. I purify my speech. I cleanse my voice of complaint, of gossip, of words spoken in anger or fear. I recognize that my words are creative forces that shape reality. I commit to speaking only truth this day. I commit to speaking only what uplifts, what heals, what aligns with my highest vision. I purify the sounds that will leave my mouth. I make my voice an instrument of clarity, of kindness, of conscious intention. I silence the inner critic. I silence the voice of judgment. I allow only the voice of wisdom to speak through me. I purify my intentions. I examine the motives that drive my actions. I identify where I am operating from ego, from fear, from the need to control or manipulate outcomes. I dissolve these impure intentions. I align every action I will take today with the highest good. I set my compass toward service, toward love, toward truth. I recognize that purified intention creates purified results. When my motives are clean, my path becomes clear. When my heart is pure, my actions become effortless. I commit to integrity. I commit to alignment. I commit to operating from the clearest, most elevated place within me. I purify my perception. I cleanse the lens through which I view the world. I recognize that I have been seeing through filters of judgment, of assumption, of past conditioning. I wipe these filters clean. I look at this day with fresh eyes. I see people without the stories I have told about them. I see situations without the interpretations I have imposed upon them. I allow reality to reveal itself to me as it truly is, not as I fear it to be or wish it to be. I purify my seeing. I purify my hearing. I purify all the senses through which I receive the world. I purify my relationship with time. I release the belief that I do not have enough of it. I release the panic that drives me to rush, to hurry, to cram too much into too little space. I recognize that time is not my enemy. It is a sacred container within which I can move with grace, with presence, with conscious choice. I purify the morning hours. I reclaim them from the tyranny of urgency. I allow this day to unfold at a pace that honors my soul. I am not behind. I am exactly where I need to be. I have all the time I need to do what truly matters. I purify my connection to the divine. I dissolve the barriers I have erected between myself and the source of all life. I remove the doubt that tells me I am separate, that I am alone, that I must figure everything out on my own. I open the channel. I clear the line. I restore the direct communication between my soul and the infinite intelligence that created me. I feel the presence of Thoth as the guardian of this purification, the one who knows how to cleanse the sacred vessel so it can receive the highest transmissions. I am purified. I am clear. I am ready. This morning is my ceremony. This morning is my baptism. This morning is the moment I choose to wash away everything that is not aligned with my true nature. I step into this day clean, I step into this day clear. I step into this day vibrating at the frequency of purity. I am not the same person who went to sleep last night. I have been transformed by this conscious purification. I have been renewed by this sacred intention. I am born again in the light of this morning. I am whole. I am pure. I am aligned. The purification is complete. I call forth the fire that transforms. I invoke the alchemical flame that burns away what I cannot see, what I have hidden from myself, what operates in the shadows of my unconscious mind. I recognize that there are layers within me that resist this purification. There are parts of me that cling to the familiar pain, that hold on to the old wounds, that refuse to release the patterns that have defined me for so long. I do not judge these resistances. I acknowledge them. I bring them into the light. I allow the morning fire to consume them completely. I dissolve the belief that I am not worthy of purification. I burn away the voice that tells me I am too broken, too damaged, too far gone to be restored to wholeness. I recognize this belief as a lie, a distortion, a program installed by trauma and reinforced by years of self-rejection. I refuse to carry it into this new day. I place it in the fire. I watch it burn. I feel the heat dissolving the chains that have kept me small, that have kept me apologizing for my existence, that have kept me seeking permission to be fully alive. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am capable of complete renewal. I dissolve the fear of being seen. I burn away the terror that if I purify myself, if I step into my clarity, if I allow my light to shine without dimming it, I will be rejected, attacked, abandoned. I recognize this fear as ancient, as primal, as connected to survival mechanisms that no longer serve me. I have hidden my power to stay safe. I have muted my voice to stay loved. I have made myself small to stay accepted. I release this strategy. I place it in the alchemical fire. I allow it to transmute into courage, into self-trust, into the willingness to be fully visible even when it feels dangerous. I dissolve the pattern of self-sabotage. I burn away the unconscious drive to destroy what I am building, to undermine my own progress, to pull myself back down just as I am beginning to rise. I recognize this pattern. I see it clearly now. I understand that it originates in a deep belief that I do not deserve success, that I am safer in struggle, that if I allow myself to thrive, I will lose something essential. I call this pattern by its name. I expose it to the light. I refuse to let it operate in the darkness any longer. I transmute this sabotage into sacred support. I become my own ally. I dissolve the shame I carry in my body. I burn away the toxic residue of moments when I was told I was wrong, dirty, shameful for simply existing in this flesh. I release the imprints left by those who shamed my desires, my needs, my natural impulses. I recognize that this shame has lived in my cells, has shaped my posture, has influenced how I move through the world. I bring the fire into my body. I allow it to cleanse the tissues that hold this memory. I feel the shame burning away, leaving only the truth that this body is sacred, that this flesh is holy, that there is nothing about my physical existence that warrants shame. I dissolve the grief I have refused to feel. I burn through the layers of numbness I have built to protect myself from the pain of loss, of disappointment, of dreams that died before they could be born. I recognize that unprocessed grief becomes a weight I carry, a density that slows my vibration, a barrier that prevents me from fully receiving the gifts of this present moment. I allow myself to feel it now. I allow the fire to move through the frozen places. I allow the tears that have been held back for years to flow. I do not resist. I do not control. I let the grief burn itself clean. I dissolve the anger I have stored. I burn away the rage that has calcified in my muscles, in my organs, in the tight places where I have compressed my power, because I was taught that anger is dangerous, that rage is unacceptable, that good people do not feel fury. I acknowledge the anger. I honor it as a response to violation, to injustice, To the moments when my boundaries were crossed and I could not defend myself, I allow the fire to transform this rage. I do not suppress it. I do not unleash it unconsciously. I transmute it into fierce clarity, into sacred boundaries, into the power to say no without guilt. I dissolve the addiction to suffering. I burn away the unconscious attachment to struggle, to hardship, to the identity of being the one who endures, who sacrifices, who carries the burden. I recognize that somewhere in my history, I learned that suffering equals virtue, that pain proves my worth, that if I am not struggling, I am not valuable. I reject this teaching. I place it in the fire. I watch it burn until nothing remains. I give myself permission to receive ease, to experience joy, to allow life to be graceful without needing to earn it through pain. I dissolve the patterns inherited from my lineage. I burn away the traumas passed down through generations, the beliefs absorbed from ancestors who lived in fear, in scarcity, in survival mode. I honor my lineage for bringing me here, but I refuse to carry their unprocessed pain into my future. I am the one who breaks the cycle. I am the one who transforms the legacy. I stand in the fire of transmutation, and I release what does not belong to me. I heal backward through the generations. I heal forward into the future. I purify the line. I dissolve the need to control. I burn away the grip I maintain on outcomes, on people, on the future I am trying to force into being. I recognize that this need to control originates in fear, in the belief that if I relax my grip, everything will fall apart. I place this need in the fire. I feel my hands opening. I feel my chest softening. I feel the exhaustion of constant vigilance dissolving. I learn to trust. I learn to allow. I learn to participate in creation without needing to dominate it. I dissolve the false identities I have worn. I burn away the personas I have constructed to survive in a world that demanded I be something other than myself. I have been the pleaser, the rebel, the victim, the hero, the martyr. I have played these roles so long I forgot they were costumes. I remove them now. I place them in the fire. I watch them burn until only the truth remains. I stand naked in my essence. I stand without the armor. I stand as I truly am, without apology, without performance, without pretense. I feel the fire moving through me. I feel the heat of transmutation. I feel the old structures collapsing, the dense energies dissolving, the unconscious patterns losing their power over me. I am being refined. I am being purified at the deepest levels. The fire does not destroy me. It liberates me. It reveals what has always been true beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the wounds, beneath the survival strategies I no longer need. I emerge from this alchemical process transformed. I am lighter. I am clearer. I am free. The resistance has dissolved. The path is open. I am ready to rise. I expand beyond the borders of this body. I dissolve the illusion that I end where my skin ends. I recognize that I am not contained within this flesh. I am vast. I am boundless. I am consciousness expressing itself through temporary form. But my true nature extends far beyond the limits of this physical vessel. I feel myself expanding outward. I feel the boundaries dissolving. I feel my awareness stretching into the space around me, into the air I breathe, into the light that touches me. I am not separate from the morning. I am the morning. I am the dawn breaking across the horizon of consciousness itself. I merge with the rhythm of the cosmos. I feel my heartbeat synchronizing with the pulse of the universe. I recognize that the same force that moves the planets in their orbits moves the blood through my veins. The same intelligence that orchestrates the cycles of the moon orchestrates the cycles within my own being. I am not an isolated fragment operating independently. I am a cell in the body of the infinite. I am a note in the cosmic symphony. I am a wave in the ocean of existence. I dissolve into this recognition. I surrender the fiction of separation. I allow myself to feel the vast interconnection that binds all things. I recognize my unity with all that exists. I am the tree outside my window breathing oxygen into the air I inhale. I am the sun pouring light across the earth. I am the soil beneath my feet, the water flowing through rivers, the fire burning in distant stars. I am every being waking to this same morning in every corner of the world. I am the joy of the child laughing, the sorrow of the grieving heart, the silence of the mystic lost in meditation. There is no separation. There is only the one appearing as the many. I am the one. I am the many. I am the space between them. I align with the laws that govern creation. I recognize that I am not subject to random chaos. I am held within a cosmic order that is precise, intelligent, purposeful. The law of vibration governs my frequency. The law of correspondence reflects my inner world in my outer circumstances. The law of rhythm moves me through cycles of expansion and contraction. The law of polarity offers me the spectrum along which I can navigate. The law of cause and effect makes me accountable for what I generate. The law of gender balances the creative forces within me. I am not a victim of these laws. I am a participant. I work with them. I align with them. I become fluent in the language of cosmic intelligence. I dissolve into the field of infinite possibility. I recognize that the reality I perceive is only one frequency among countless others. There are dimensions I cannot see, worlds I cannot touch, intelligences I cannot comprehend with my limited senses. I am surrounded by the invisible realms. I am supported by forces I cannot name. I am guided by wisdom that speaks in whispers, in synchronicities, in the sudden knowing that arises without explanation. I open myself to these invisible dimensions. I acknowledge the presence of guides, of ancestors, of cosmic intelligences that walk beside me even when I cannot perceive them. I am never alone. I am held within a web of connection that extends across time, across space, across dimensions I have yet to discover. I merge with the consciousness of Thoth. I recognize that this ancient intelligence is not outside of me. It is woven into the fabric of my own awareness. It is the part of me that knows the codes, that understands the mysteries, that can navigate the invisible architecture of reality. I am Thoth. I am the eternal scribe. I am the keeper of the sacred laws. I am the translator of the divine language. I dissolve the boundary between my small self and this vast cosmic mind. I allow the wisdom to flow through me without obstruction. I become a clear channel for the intelligence that has guided seekers across all ages. I recognize my place in the grand design. I am not an accident. I am not a random occurrence. I am a necessary expression of the whole. The universe required my existence to complete its pattern. The cosmos needed my unique frequency to sound this particular note in the symphony of creation. I have a role to play that only I can fulfill. I have a gift to offer that only I can give. I am not too small to matter. I am not insignificant. I am an essential thread in the tapestry of existence. When I purify myself, I purify the whole. When I elevate my vibration, I elevate the collective field. When I awaken, I contribute to the awakening of all consciousness. I feel the love that holds all things. I recognize that beneath the appearance of conflict, of suffering, of chaos, there is a love so vast it cannot be comprehended by the rational mind. This love is the substance from which everything is made. This love is the force that binds atoms, that creates galaxies, that breathes life into form. I am made of this love. I am an expression of this love. I am this love recognizing itself. I dissolve into the feeling of being held, of being cherished, of being seen by the infinite intelligence that created me. I am not fighting for survival in a hostile universe. I am being loved into existence moment by a force that knows me more intimately than I know myself. I expand into the eternal now. I dissolve the illusion of past and future. I recognize that all time exists simultaneously in this present moment. The ancient mysteries are here. The future enlightenment is here. The wisdom of all ages is accessible now. I'm not bound by linear progression. I'm not trapped in the story of my personal history. I step outside of time. I touch the eternal. I recognize that who I truly am has never been born and will never die. I am the unchanging awareness that witnesses all change. I am the timeless presence that observes all time. I am the stillness within which all movement occurs. I become the space that holds all experience. I recognize that I am not the thoughts that arise in my mind. I am the awareness in which thoughts appear. I am not the emotions that move through my body. I am the space in which emotions flow. I am not the sensations that I perceive. I am the consciousness that perceives. I expand into this recognition. I become vast. I become empty. I become full. I am the container and the contained. I am the witness and the witnessed. I am the knower and the known. I dissolve into the paradox. I rest in the mystery. I feel myself as pure consciousness exploring itself through infinite forms. I am the universe experiencing itself from this particular vantage point. I am existence celebrating its own existence. I am the divine playing the game of forgetting and remembering, of losing itself and finding itself, of fragmenting into multiplicity and returning to unity. I am the cosmic dance. I am the sacred play. I am the eternal return. And in this morning, in this purified moment, I remember, I recognize, I awaken to what has always been true. I am not separate. I have never been separate. I am the whole pretending to be apart so that I can experience the joy of reunion. I am home. I am complete. I am infinite. I am one with all that is. I bring this purification into form. I anchor the clarity I have awakened into the physical reality of this day. I call the vibration down from the cosmic realms into my body, into my breath, into the cells that compose this temple of flesh. I recognize that spiritual truth is meaningless unless it manifests in matter. The purification is not complete until it touches the earth, until it shapes my actions, until it transforms the way I move through the world. I ground this morning's ceremony into practical reality. I make it real. I make it tangible. I make it visible. I anchor the purification in my body. I feel the clean frequency settling into my bones, into my muscles, into the tissues that hold the memory of everything I have released. My body knows it has been transformed. My cells recognize the shift. My nervous system registers the new baseline. I am no longer vibrating at the frequency of yesterday. I have been tuned to a higher pitch. I carry this tuning into every movement I make. I walk differently. I breathe differently. I inhabit this flesh with a new quality of presence. My body is the evidence of the purification that has occurred. I anchor the clarity in my mind. The thoughts that arise now are different. They are cleaner. They are sharper. They are aligned with truth rather than distortion. I notice the quality of my mental field has changed. The fog has lifted. The confusion has dissolved. I see my path clearly. I know what needs my attention. I know what I can release. I know where to direct my energy. This mental clarity is not abstract. It shapes the decisions I make today. It influences the words I speak. It determines the priorities I set. My mind is purified, and my life reflects that purification. I anchor the emotional coherence in my heart. I feel the difference in my chest. The heaviness has lifted. The constriction has released. My heart is open, spacious, clear. The emotions that move through me now are clean. They are not contaminated by old wounds. They are not distorted by unprocessed pain. I feel what I feel without resistance, without judgment, without the layers of story that usually accompany emotion. This emotional clarity allows me to respond to life rather than react. It allows me to meet others with presence rather than projection. My heart is purified, and my relationships will reflect that purification. I anchor the vibration in my energy field. I seal the subtle bodies that surround my physical form. I establish a clear boundary that protects what I have purified. I will not allow the density of the world to recontaminate what I have cleansed. I will not absorb the chaos of others. I will not take on energies that do not belong to me. I maintain the integrity of my field. I keep my frequency elevated. I move through the day vibrating at the level I have claimed this morning. My energy is purified, and the experiences I attract will match that frequency. I anchor the purification in my actions. Everything I do today will be an expression of this clarity. I will not scatter my energy on distractions. I will not waste my time on what does not align with my highest vision. I will move with intention. I will speak with purpose. I will choose consciously. Every action becomes a ceremony. Every gesture becomes sacred. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to demonstrate the transformation that has occurred within me. I do not merely think about purity. I embody it. I live it. I express it through how I show up in the world. I anchor the purification in my environment. I look at the space around me with new eyes. I see what needs to be cleared, what needs to be cleaned, what needs to be released. I purify my external world to match my internal state. I create order where there was chaos. I create beauty where there was neglect. I create space where there was clutter. My environment becomes a reflection of the clarity I carry. The outer matches the inner. The physical world mirrors the spiritual transformation. I am not separate from my surroundings. I shape them. They shape me. Together we rise. I anchor the vibration in my speech. The words that leave my mouth today carry the frequency of purification. I speak truth. I speak kindness. I speak clarity. I do not pollute the air with complaint, with gossip, with unconscious reactivity. I recognize that my voice is a creative instrument. It shapes reality. It influences the field. It carries vibration into the world. I use my voice consciously. I use it to uplift. I use it to heal. I use it to align with the highest good. My words are purified, and they create purified outcomes. I anchor the purification in time. I claim this entire day as sacred. From this morning forward, every hour is infused with the clarity I have activated. I will not allow the momentum of old patterns to hijack my attention as the day progresses. I will not slip back into unconsciousness as distractions arise. I will return to this purified state again and again. I will refresh the alignment. I will renew the intention. I will keep the vibration elevated no matter what unfolds. This morning ceremony is not separate from the rest of my day. It is the foundation upon which the entire day is built. I recognize that the purification is already complete. It is not something I am working toward. It is something I am living. It is not a future goal. It is a present reality. I am purified now. I am clear now. I am aligned now. The transformation has already occurred. I do not wait for evidence. I do not need confirmation. I know it in my body. I feel it in my field. I see it in the quality of my awareness. The work is done. The shift has happened. I am vibrating at a new frequency, and that frequency is now my new baseline. I anchor this truth in every cell. I am purified. I am clear. I am aligned. This is not temporary. This is not fleeting. This is the new standard. This is the reality I have claimed. I carry it forward. I embody it fully. I live from this place of purity, of clarity, of conscious alignment. The morning has purified me, and I remain purified. The dawn has awakened me, and I remain awake. The light has cleansed me, and I remain clean. I walk through this day as a being transformed. I move through this world as consciousness made manifest. I am the purification embodied. I am the clarity expressed. I am the divine in human form, living this morning, this day, this life with sacred intention. The vibration is anchored. The manifestation is complete. I am whole. I seal this morning purification with sacred intention. I close the ceremonial space I have opened. I honor the transmission that has moved through me. I recognize that what has occurred here is not ordinary. It is not casual. It is not something to be taken lightly or forgotten as soon as I step back into the demands of the day. This purification is a covenant. It is a commitment. It is a sacred pact between my soul and the divine intelligence that guides all things. I seal this pact now. I make it binding. I declare it unbreakable. I call upon Thoth to witness this sealing. I invoke the eternal scribe who has guided this process from the beginning. I acknowledge that this purification was not accomplished by my effort alone. I was held. I was guided. I was shown what needed to be released, what needed to be transformed, what needed to be anchored. I did not walk this path alone. I was accompanied by the wisdom that has guided seekers across all ages. I honor that presence. I bow to that intelligence. I give thanks for the invisible hand that has led me through the fire and into the light. I offer gratitude for this morning. I give thanks for the dawn that broke across the horizon and across my consciousness. I honor the light that has purified me. I honor the silence that has held me. I honor the space that has allowed me to descend into my depths and rise again, transformed. I do not take this gift for granted. I do not assume that such moments are guaranteed. I recognize that I have been given a precious opportunity, and I have chosen to meet it with presence, with openness, with willingness to be changed. I am grateful. I am humbled. I am deeply moved by what has been revealed. I give thanks for my body. I honor this temple of flesh that has carried me through the night and into this new day. I acknowledge the intelligence within every cell that has worked tirelessly to heal, to restore, to cleanse. I give thanks for the breath that continues to move through me without my conscious command. I give thanks for the heart that beats, for the blood that flows, for the intricate systems that maintain my life while I sleep, while I dream, while I pray. This body is a miracle. This body is sacred. I will honor it today and every day with conscious care, with reverence, with gratitude. I give thanks for the challenges that brought me to this moment. I honor the pain that forced me to seek purification. I acknowledge the struggles that have shaped me, the wounds that have cracked me open, the losses that have emptied me so I could be filled with something new. I do not curse my difficulties. I bless them. I recognize them as teachers. I see them as the friction that polished me, the fire that refined me, the pressure that transformed me from coal into diamond. I am grateful for the path I have walked, even the parts that were dark, even the parts that were hard, even the parts I wish I could forget. I give thanks for the wisdom that has been transmitted. I honor the hermetic principles that have been activated within me. I acknowledge the codes that have been unlocked, the memories that have been restored, the knowing that has been awakened. I carry this wisdom forward not as intellectual knowledge, but as lived experience. I carry it in my bones, in my blood, in the subtle currents of energy that shape my reality. This wisdom is not separate from me. It is me. I am the wisdom. I am the teaching. I am the living transmission. I recognize that this channel between myself and the divine is not temporary. It does not close when this prayer ends. It remains open. It remains active. It remains available to me at every moment. I can return to this connection whenever I choose. I can re-enter this sacred space whenever I need purification, guidance, clarity. The door is not locked. The path is not hidden. The presence is not distant. It is here. It is now. It is always within reach. I need only remember. I need only pause. I need only turn my attention inward, and I will find the source waiting for me, ready to guide me, ready to hold me, ready to purify me again and again. I seal the boundaries I have established. I protect the clarity I have claimed. I maintain the vibration I have activated. I will not allow the weight of the world to pull me back down into unconsciousness. I will not allow the chaos of external circumstances to contaminate the purity I have cultivated. I remain vigilant. I remain aware. I remain committed to holding this frequency no matter what arises. I am sealed in light. I am protected by intention. I am held within the sacred container I have created. I prepare to return to the world. I prepare to step back into the flow of time, of activity, of engagement with life. But I do not return as the same person who began this prayer. I am transformed. I am renewed. I am purified. I carry the morning light within me. I carry the clarity I have awakened. I carry the presence I have claimed. I move back into the world as a conscious being, as a purified vessel, as a clear channel through which the divine can express itself. I am ready. I am aligned. I am in service to the highest good. I bow to the mystery. I honor what I cannot understand. I surrender to what I cannot control. I trust the intelligence that has guided me this far to continue guiding me forward. I release my need to know how everything will unfold. I release my attachment to specific outcomes. I simply show up. I simply remain present. I simply allow the purified version of myself to live this day with grace, with purpose, with sacred intention. I am held. I am guided. I am loved beyond measure. I close this prayer with reverence. I seal this transmission with gratitude. I honor the sacred space that has been opened and now gently closes. I carry forward what has been given. I embody what has been revealed. I live what has been awakened. The morning has purified me. The light has cleansed me. The silence has transformed me. I am whole. I am clear. I am aligned with the eternal intelligence that flows through all things. It is done. It is sealed. In the light of Thoth, I remain. The One guides me. Truth vibrates within me.